Narcissist Ensnared, Episode 6. Wynne woke up and turned to his bedside cabinet. There was the golden glow from a recently arrived text message. He grabbed the phone and opened up the message. "Peter tried to commit suicide last night. Kiss, kiss, kiss." Wynne rubbed his eyes and read the message again. "Good God," he said aloud, and pulled himself into a sitting position. He texted back a response. "Is he okay? What happened? Kiss, kiss, kiss." Immediately there was a response. "Yes, he is okay. Attention-seeking. I've had a hell of a night. Kiss, kiss, kiss." "I dare say. Is he in hospital? Kiss, kiss, kiss." "No. At home. We'll tell you about it when I see you. Kiss, kiss, kiss." "Okay." Kiss, kiss, kiss. Wynne wanted Peter out of the way, but not like this. Wynne was thankful that Peter had not succeeded, and didn't appear to have hurt himself particularly seriously. He wondered whether it was just an act to draw sympathy from Ashleigh. If so, that was a low move, and it didn't appear to have had the desired effect at all. Alternatively, was it a serious attempt, and something that he had caused, no matter how unintentionally? Wynne shook his head. No, he was not going to be made to feel guilty by this man. True, he wished the man no real harm, not really, although he did deserve a good kicking for the way that he treated Ashleigh. Nevertheless, his loss of his wife to Wynne viewed as punishment enough for Peter's terrible behaviour. Wynne clambered out of bed. He needed to see Ashleigh at Whitefriars and find out what had been going on. A couple of hours later, Wynne saw her stood in one of the old stone archways. She cut a forlorn figure, wrapped in her black coat, scarf wrapped around her neck. He had dropped his nephews off at the Christmas kitchen that was being run as an activity by the staff at the Whitefriars Craft Centre. It was full of excited children, and Amelia spotted him straight away, waving to him and smiling. She certainly seemed happy enough, and must not have known about what had taken place the night before. Ashleigh turned and looked at Wynne. Her green eyes bore a haunted look. She appeared white and frail. Her usual buoyancy at seeing him appeared to have evaporated. She stepped forward and looked anxiously around before placing a short kiss on his lips. "You look exhausted," Wynne commented as they both turned and walked through the archway. "I am. I'm shattered." "What's been happening, then?" asked Wynne as he placed a hand on her arm. He was trying to gauge if there had been any appreciable change in her demeanour to him. The enforced separation of 5 days had been the longest they had been apart since she had returned from Mexico. To an outsider, this might not seem like much, but given the intensity of their relationship and the passion that they had for one another, it felt like months. "Well, I went to bed after I exchanged texts with you last night," Ashleigh began. Wynne nodded. "I fell asleep straight away. I was drained after spending most of the day talking with him. I was woken up by the house phone at my parents' ringing. I looked at my mobile phone and saw that he had been ringing both my iPhone and my BlackBerry. I'd put them both on silent. He had rung each one at least a dozen times." "What time was this?" "Oh, about 1:30 in the morning. I noticed that he'd left voicemails, so I tried the iPhone first. His first message was just music playing really loudly. I couldn't recognize the track. Then the next message was him slurring about something. He was clearly pissed. The third message was him saying, 'Bye-bye, Amelia. Bye-bye, Christopher. Daddy has taken the pills.'" "Good God," said Wynne. "I jumped out of bed and had just opened the bedroom door when my mother appeared. She said Peter had been on the landline and had said he was going to die as he'd taken an overdose. My mum had called for an ambulance and I got dressed. I raced over to the house with my father. I must have got there in just 15 minutes. Lord knows how fast I was going. The pair continued, walking along the street, heading towards Novo Bank. What happened then? I got to the house, and the police and an ambulance were already there. Goodness knows what the neighbours thought was going on. His sister turned up as well with her husband. Peter had telephoned them as well, saying he was going to kill himself. There was stuff strewn all over the drive, a beanbag, a telephone, a remote control. I ran into the house, and he was there in the living area, throwing up all over the floor, with every bottle of medicine and pills from the house scattered across one of the worktops. Had he taken anything? Asked Wynne. Well, he had downed a bottle of red and started on a second. He said he'd taken 2 muscle relaxant pills. Is that it? Asked Wynne. I know, answered Ashleigh, with a degree of irritation. She adjusted her scarf as the wind blew along the road. The paramedics checked him over and said that other than being drunk, he seemed okay. His brother-in-law is a doctor, and he gets us all of these pills, so there was quite a collection. The police gathered them up and took them away. I'm a bit annoyed about that, as they took a lot of my painkillers with them. The paramedics said that so long as Richard, that's his brother-in-law, stayed with him to watch over him, they were happy enough to leave him in his care. So he wasn't hurt then? Oh, not in the slightest. He just went to sleep after causing all of that drama. He woke up this morning claiming to have no memory of what went on last night. Did you stay at the house? Yes, I went upstairs and lay on the bed. I didn't want to be in the same room as him. I just lay there staring up at the ceiling. You know, I was considering giving him another chance, but after that display... Well, he can forget it. That's just pathetic and weak. Wynne was minded to say that the man was obviously very upset, but he decided against it. You wouldn't do something like that, would you? Asked Ashleigh. I doubt it, answered Wynne, but I guess you never know, though, do you? I wouldn't. We're brought into this world for a reason, not to chuck in the towel at the first sign of difficulty. So, how's it been left? Asked Wynne, as they neared Novo Bank. I stayed awake all last night. I went through everything that he has done to me, every hurt, every insult, and every piece of nastiness, and I realized that all he cares about is himself. Not me, and certainly not the children. I am washing my hands of him. Fancy creating such a scene all about him. Wynne remained silent as Ashleigh vented. She extracted her BlackBerry and handed it to him. Will you listen to the messages on it, please? I can't be doing with it, she asked. Wynne nodded and took the phone. He pressed the button for the voicemail and made his way through 5 messages. In each of them, he could only hear loud music and what sounded like someone throwing something around. Eventually, he finished the last message and deleted it. What did he say? Asked Ashleigh. Oh, there was just music on a couple of them. Then it was him shouting about how much he hated you, that you were a fucking bitch who had ruined his life. He said you were a slut and he was sick of you going off with other men and that he wished you would die, said Wynne. Typical Peter, she shrugged. So, how have things been left? Well, once he woke up, he said he felt okay. A little bit rough, but other than that, okay. He wasn't the one wiping vomit from the floor and sofa, though, was he? Selfish prick. Richard and Peter's sister Natalie went home, and I said I had to drop Amelia in town and then call in at work. He then started demanding that I not go into work, as we had agreed that I would go on the sick. You never agreed to that, remarked Wynne. I know. He's astonishing. I told him I had to go to work and that I would be back as soon as I could. His sister is going back across to see him this morning. I'm going to tell him he has to stay with her. I want him out of the house. The children and I deserve to live there. It's their home and we shouldn't be camped out of my parents. After this debacle, he can be the one to go away. That sounds sensible, replied Wynne, delighted to hear that Ashleigh was being affirmative once more, and not contemplating any reconciliations with her husband. If Peter's so-called suicide attempt had sought to elicit sympathy from Ashleigh, it had not only failed, but had also backfired upon him. Just then, the BlackBerry, which Wynne still held, began to ring. It's Peter. he said, looking at the display. Wynne paused, considering answering it himself, and speaking to Peter to find out what he wanted, and to provide him with some choice words, but Ashleigh was gesturing for him to hand over the phone, and he obeyed, handing the phone to Ashleigh, who had placed a finger on her lips. "Yes?" she answered. She walked away from Wynne, and he could not hear what she was saying as he stood waiting. Inside, he was pleased at this latest development, but again irritated that Peter was calling her. When was he going to get the message? Wynne glanced over occasionally at Ashleigh, whose facial expression denoted someone who was becoming exasperated. After a few minutes, the call ended, and she walked back to Wynne. "What did he want?" he asked. "Oh, he's demanding that I go back to the house right now. His sister is there, and he wants to talk to me. I don't know what she wants, as she doesn't even like me. None of his family do. That's because I stand up to them. You know, he was downstairs asleep, oblivious to the panic he caused to my parents and me, and I even packed a bag for him with clothes to take to his sister's house. Yet I do that good thing for him, and then he rings me up ranting and raving. He won't change, I've realised that now." "Is there anything that I can do to help?" asked Wynne. "Just hold me," said Ashleigh. She seemed unconcerned that they were near Novobank, and Wynne wondered that perhaps with last night's events, whether she was no longer bothered about Peter, knowing that she wanted to be with Wynne, as someone was likely to see them together. He wrapped his arms around her, and she pulled in close to him. Her fragrance rose, and he savoured that scent, placing his face against the top of her head and the softness of her blonde curls. She remained enveloped by him for a couple of minutes and then raised her head. "I always feel so much better when I am with you. I don't know why I just didn't come to you last Friday," she said. "That is all I've wanted you to do, Ashleigh, to come to my house where I can keep you safe, you and the children." "I know." They stood looking at one another for a few moments. "I need to go into the office and then head back and ensure he leaves the house. It's for the best. Will you ask Paul Harrison to ring me? I may as well get on with the divorce now. I don't think the decree absolute will arrive for Christmas, but I can at least give him a petition, can't I?" she asked. "Yes, you can," said Wynne. "I need to get through Christmas for the sake of the children, and then we can plan our future together, can't we?" "Yes, we will do that." "Thank you, Ian. I'll ring you later on." Wynne nodded and watched as she walked away. Inside, he felt triumphant. The period of uncertainty had only been brief, and he scolded himself for lacking faith. He should have known better. Hadn't she always said that they belonged together? Well, now it was going to happen.